Okay, hello all. So I'd just like to welcome everyone to today's event, which is how to future-proof your business with a Drive in 2022. This event is being held as part of the Suffolk Business Festival. We're really glad to have you here. And today we're joined by today's events partners, which is Paul and Jade from Drive. So welcome, Paul and Jade. It's good to have you along. Just a bit of background on the Business Festival. The annual Suffolk Business Festival is an opportunity for businesses to learn something new, to find out what's happening in their local area and how they can get involved, as well as find out how they can access local support programs like Drive. For 2022, the theme of this year's Business Festival is all things digital, and the events will include the launch of new digital business support programs, digital tech demos, information on local digital projects, as well as a number of workshops, webinars, and learning sessions. All events are being held online to enable local businesses to access support and information they need more conveniently, and so they can just pop in during their working day. Recorded events, podcasts, and pre-recorded webinars will be made available throughout the 2-week period and beyond, and these can be found at www.esuffolkmeansbusiness.co.uk. This is one of many events scheduled, so to find out about the other events taking place, please visit the eSuffolk Means Business website for more information. Please note that today's event is being recorded, so you'll be able to watch it back later. You can watch the event via the eSuffolk Means Business website at the link I just said. If you'd like to ask any questions throughout today's event, please submit them via the Q&A button or add a question to the chat. These options can be found at the bottom of your screens. If you do would like to add a question to the chat, please can you just pop it. Please can you just ensure they're sent to all attendees so it does not get missed. At the end, the event will also do a short poll to get your feedback. This will help us shape future events and activities within the Business Festival going forward. So we would really appreciate if you could do that once it becomes on screen. So without further ado, I'd now like to pass over to Paul and Jade for their presentations. So over to you guys.
Okay, thank you. My name's Paul Mace. I project manage the Drive program, and Drive has been going now since February last year is when we launched. It's a business mentoring and capital grant opportunity, and it's for small and medium-sized enterprises across Norfolk and Suffolk that want to invest in a new project which can help their growth and expansion plans. So as I've said, it's mentoring and capital grants. So the mentoring aspect has to be completed first, and that's a 12-hour process. We assign a business once they've gone through an eligibility check to a mentor, and then the business arranges with that mentor how they want to complete that 12 hours mentoring. At the moment, it's all been virtual. So they've been arranging appointments to complete the 12 hours. The focus of the 12 hours is to look at their projects. So that's their investment idea, what they want to do, why they want to do it, and to make sure everything stacks up and they're presenting that case in a strong way. The mentor then looks at how that fits in with the business's wider business plan. At the end of that 12-hour process, the applicant then has the opportunity to apply for a capital grant of up to £30,000. I should say between 5 and 30,000, but up to 30,000 at 40% of eligible project costs.
There we go. So what can an applicant use Drive for? So Drive's mentoring sessions are tailored to a business's specific needs. So if you're somebody who's never written a business plan before, or you've written several, our team can help. Drive business mentors can assist with everything from marketing to risk assessments to competitive analysis, but ultimately they exist to help you to design and perfect a realistic project plan that could potentially be awarded funding. Drive can only support capital investment projects, so this is items that go onto a business's asset register. So eligible projects mainly involve equipment purchases, technology upgrades and innovation, expansion plans and tourist attractions, but this isn't a definite list. So if you have any eligibility questions, always contact the Drive team.
Okay, so we review each case on a case-by-case basis. We know that some businesses aren't always structured in the same way, not always straightforward to understand. So we're here to take time to understand. We would say that most eligible applicants have something to do with manufacturing, engineering, maybe accommodation, private sports facilities. We can't support all businesses. That's because our funding comes from the European Regional Development Fund, which has specific rules about which sectors and activity it can support and which it cannot. So we cannot assist those primarily involved with cafes, restaurants, bars, agriculture, primary processing, and accredited can be complex. It can also be straightforward. And I would just say the important thing is to email the Drive team at norfolk.gov.uk, because then we can give a bespoke view on your status and whether you're eligible to apply.
So examples of successful applicants that we've had are an engineering company that purchased a CNC machine, a brewery bought cleaning equipment and barrels, an animal feed business obtained a new cold store facility, and accommodation business purchased a floating pod. So then we've just got a couple of testimonials. So you've got one from a startup business that just says that they were enormously grateful for the experience and for the experience support, because it just kind of shows that with startups they don't always know everything, and that with Drive expertise they're in a better position. And the second testimonial is from an established business that didn't have the time to kind of re-look at their business plan, but with Drive they were able to look at their strengths and weaknesses, as well as invest money into the business to have a stronger position for future growth.
So a couple of points really that we need to consider. So all eligible Drive applicants must impact the rural economy in one way or another. So that might be from their location, it might be from where their employees are based, or it might be from where their customers or supply chain are. All applicants need to create new employment that is directly related to the project. So the benchmark for creating employment is £25,000 of grant funding in return for one full-time employee taken on, and the definition of that is a 36-hour post for one full-time employee. So Drive will potentially fund any activity that's eligible via the European Regional Development Fund regulations. That's quite a wide scope. Some funds look to prioritise within the rules to support certain activity, but Drive will look at all eligible activity. And we can also support startups. Again, it's quite unusual. There are startup loans available out there, but Drive will actually help with the capital startup costs. They'll need to show job creation within their 3-year business plan, the same as other projects. They've got to have an aspiration to move quicker than the average startup. So they'll be looking to, within that 3 years, have plans to employ up to 3 people, just so that it means that we're funding businesses that are looking to grow slightly quicker than normal with startups. A minimum total cost for a project is £12,500, which equates to our minimum grant of £5,000. So even that is a substantial sort of undertaking for a business. So Drive will issue state aid letters for our mentor support at a rate of £50 an hour. But just to be clear on this, it's a state aid letter to say that a business has had support to the value of. There will be no invoice to pay. So we would have to do that. And if a business disengages partway through the process at, say, 6 hours support, they would still be asked to acknowledge and sign to say that they'd received support to the value of £300 in that case for 6 hours support. So the process from eligibility checks to offer letter takes on average sort of 2 to 3 months, but the business really drives the pace of this. If they can complete their mentoring process quite quickly with 2 or 3 sessions a week for 2 or 3 weeks, then they can get through it quite quickly. And we have had one business go from engagement with us to receiving a grant funding agreement within 5 weeks. That's about as quick as we would think it's probably possible. So when a business receives a grant, it will receive that grant funding agreement, and then the award will be made under de minimis state aid, which means the business can receive up to €200,000 in a rolling 3-year period. So we're asking for that declaration up front on the application form, and indeed when they first engage with us, so that we're checking to see that we're not going to be wasting businesses' time going through something when they've already had their limit. The most important thing with any grant program is that no expenditure can be incurred prior to signing a grant offer letter. If you stick to that default rule as an applicant, you'll never go wrong. There may be exceptions, but you know that is a hard and fast rule. If a claim comes in with an invoice that predates any date on a contract being signed, then that invoice is invalidated, and you won't get funding paid against it. So Drive payments are paid in arrears, which means you have to pay in full. Say a piece of equipment is £50,000. You've received a Drive award for 40% of that, the £20,000. You would need to show us that you've got the invoice for the £50,000. You would need to show us that the money has gone out of your bank account, and you complete the claim form and it comes in, and then we will reimburse you. So it's important when you apply for the grant, you're able to demonstrate that you can cash flow the whole amount. So our contacts as a team, the one that's used most is Drive Team at norfolk.gov.uk. So Drive Team, all one word. Our website is driveforbusiness.co.uk. Telephone number 01603 222 643, and our Twitter is at Norfolk for Biz. We have a team that consists of myself, Jade, who's the coordinator, business mentors, Rachel Kirk, Stuart Turner, and Neil Mason. And then we have 3 finance and appraisal officers in the team as well, Alice Goodrich, Helen Bailey, and Maddie Mitchell. That means we keep everything within the team, the whole process. We don't outsource anything. We can have team meetings. We can fully understand the process and support applicants the best we can. Happy to take any questions, please.
I think I've got a couple of questions, if that's okay. Just when you refer to the rural economy, and you said that location and employment stuff, if possible, would you sort of elaborate on the different criteria for that? So would a business saying like Lowestoft or Felixstowe be eligible? Is that rural enough, or how would that work, Paul? Just out of interest. Okay,
so to qualify with the criteria is pretty loose. Yes, we've had applicants from the middle of Norwich, the middle of Ipswich, and it may be that they make a product that is sold across plenty of rural locations. It may be that part of their supply chain comes from a rural base. When you really think about it, the things that we can't fund, things like retail, pubs, cafes, most of those businesses are going to be more central in those urban locations, so can't apply on that basis anyway.
Okay.
So, we've had things like maybe outdoor activity centre that's based in an urban location, but can demonstrate that lots of people visit it from outside, from rural villages. So its customer base is at least sort of 50% rural. So it's not hard and fast, and there is normally a way to sort of shoehorn a business to demonstrate in one way or another that it can be benefiting the rural economy. Our sort of starting point is that Norfolk and Suffolk are rural economies. So we'll look to work with businesses to demonstrate how they impact that. I definitely wouldn't discourage a business talking to us because they think they're in Central Lowestoft or Central Felixstowe.
Okay, so I guess any business that sort of thinks they might be 50-50, best thing to do is contact yourselves and you can just talk it through with them.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, that's great stuff. And just is there a limit to the amount of businesses that can go through the scheme, or is it just sort of a rolling scheme? Just wondering how it works. Is there first come first served, or?
Okay, so that's a good question. It will be first come first served. At the moment, we've funded in contract awards about £500,000. We've got 2.2 million to award. So
okay,
we've got an amount within the pipeline, within development, but nowhere near enough to meet our maximum grant award level. So there is still opportunity for businesses to get involved. As things run down, it will get competitive, as with any program. But there is plenty of opportunity for businesses to come forward and engage at the moment. And the process with the mentoring means that if somebody really joins us at a point when maybe there's enough in pipeline development, they can almost get themselves to the front by committing to the mentoring on a quicker sort of basis to get through the process. But yeah, it's first come first serve, but there's plenty of money left is the message.
Okay, sounds good. Does anyone else got any questions at all? Or?
Just one more question to ask, was okay. So I was wondering, so in terms of, so you mentioned that they've got to employ people up to 3 as a minimum. I was just wondering, does that also include kind of workforce development vacancies, for example, like apprentices, interns, that sort of thing? Is there any limit on that, or?
Okay, just to be clear, and I probably wasn't within the presentation, the aspiration for up to 3 employees in the first 3 years trading is purely for a new startup business to move from startup to 3 employees within 3 years. So for an established business, we are looking for 1 FTE against 25,000 of grant, and indeed that's the case for a startup as well initially, but they just need to demonstrate that they've got growth aspirations within that 3-year period to grow more. So it's 1 job for 25,000. And to expand on your question, apprenticeships actually do count in European Regional Development Fund, so we can count an apprentice as a employee created. Interns and things like that, I don't think we can, but I could check that if we get that specific question.
We can also prorate the job creation as well. So if you went for a smaller grant, there would be less job creation needed. But our financial appraisal officers work out how many hours a week you would need to employ a person for the grant that you go for.
Yeah, that's to set a benchmark. There's no hard and fast sort of rule with that. I always tell applicants that, that if you're creating 3 jobs and asking for £25,000, you're obviously demonstrating really good value for money in that project. So as a minimum, you should be looking to be able to demonstrate the benchmark, which is 1 FTE against 25,000 or prorated, as Jade said.
Brilliant. Yeah, thank you. That's really good to know.
Okay, great stuff. Just wondering if there's any more questions.
No more questions in the chat. Thank you, Adam.
Okay, so yeah, thanks for the presentation, guys. I'll just move over to the poll part now. So if we're okay, just to quickly conduct that. Okay, yeah, so you should see some questions pop up your screen. If you could just quickly complete that, that'll help us sort of further understand what people are looking for from the business festival going forward. So
Yep, I'll just leave it up for about 30 seconds. You can complete it if you wish to.
I think that's
Yeah, we'll leave it just on in the background for anyone that wants to complete that. Thank you.
great stuff. Sorry to be a pain, Jade. Is there any chance you could just pop to the next slide if that's okay?
Yeah.
There's a
That can.
oh, no worries.
There we go.
Okay, so just on the slide, as mentioned earlier, there is a number of other events happening during the up till next Friday. So if you'd like to view the other events that happen as part of the Suffolk Business Festival, please visit the website link on your screen there, and you can also follow us on our social media channels just to get the most up-to-date information. So that's for our Twitter account, that's ESMBiz, and for our Facebook account, that's also Facebook at East Suffolk Means Business. And as mentioned earlier, all resources will be posted on our website, and that can also be found at our East Suffolk Means Business Festival web link there as well. And just finally, this is our team contact page. So this is the contact team for East Suffolk, and if you've got any inquiries about how we can support your business, feel free to contact us at any of these email addresses given. If not, you can also contact us at our general email address, which is economicdevelopment@eastsuffolk.gov.uk. So I'm now just going to conclude the webinar. Before I do, I just want to thank Paul and Jade for their presentation today, and also yourselves for attending. Hopefully we'll see you at future events, and yeah, have a good day all, and thanks again. Cheers.
Thank you all.